afei na maamefo amabaawa mmranteɛ nkɔkorawa kyɛ sɛ ɔmo ɔbɛwu nyinaa ɛde yɛ mampani a wɔatwam ɛkɔ nana adedankɔ ɛkofo ado ɔne na abɛdi akyire frɛ no Dr. Mahama Bawumia ɛboɔ ɛma no ne nyinaa ɛne senti no yɛwɔ ha ana MPP for ɛbra na ɔmo wɔ power no ɔmo implement policy bi a ne yɛfrɛ no free SHS ɛwɔ Ghana mamu ano mana kyerɛ sɛ nkola bi ɛkɔ school SS bia no na ɔmo kɔ no free ana wɔ mu ntua kaprɛ every hɔ na ɔmo de another policy bɛyɛ no ne yɛ levy ɛbɛka no sɛ electronic levy a kyerɛ sɛ ɔtɔ airtime kyerɛ sɛ adeɛ bi a bɛyɛ transaction ɛwɔ phone so bia no yɛbɛtew kakra na kyerɛ sɛ no na kɔ aban fotuo mu na kyerɛ sɛ aban so atimi de kura Ghana ho yɛwɔ ha ana NDC for by na ɔmo kasa na levy na ɛti yɛ Ghana sika dodo ana free SHS nkola na bɛkɔ school 3 months na ɔmo atena fie 3 months ɛnya de ɔmo bɛhunu adeɛ kyerɛ sɛ ɔbɛbɔn ɛnɛ yɛato aba ayi mampani ɛne na bɛdi akyire MPP for mpanifo yi efiri so ɛde NDC abesi so mo so mo ba ya the same thing na mo so mo de aba ɛyɛ friend say D levy odi D levy aba asan de another yi levy so asan yɛ aba ɛnɛ na mrantoa ne nkɔkorafoɔ ne mmrafo no efu yie pa ɔmo ɛkyɛ sɛ ɔmo no ɔmo pa so ɔmo to aba no ma yɛ mampani John Dramani Mahama.
When I heard that behind the backs of Ghanaian people, under the cover of darkness, when all of us were going to have our dinner, that was when we saw flyers that this wicked government has imposed a whooping, 1 Ghana cedi, on every liter of fuel that we buy. For proper context for the Ghanaian people, we understand fuel pitches in gallons. So I prefer to use the gallons.
Right.
The fact of the matter is that last night, this wicked, insensitive government imposed about 4 cedis to 4 cedi 50 pesos, 4 cedi 50 pesos on every gallon,
400% increase
on every gallon of fuel that we buy. That is fact. You see, we find ourselves in a situation where we're saddled, and we simply have on our hands, or we have a clueless, everlasting, incompetent bunch of arrogant braggarts who have just come themselves into power. I told you here the last time, and he's had 17 minutes of unhindered preaching. And I pray he gives me that. So please take note of the time. We prefer to stay on the NDC and the fiduciary relationship they've built with the Ghanaian people. I will not even go into their history. We have a finance minister who talks so much, and at his vetting was asked, all these things you are saying, you are surely going to have revenue shortfalls. And there are issues in this country that need to be dealt with. How are you going to be able to raise revenue to deal with these things and make sure that the Ghanaian people don't suffer for it? And doom so was one of the things that were brought up. This is his response. And I'll simply quote what he said. He said that we don't need more taxes to raise revenue. That's the finance minister.
Why are you quoting this one?
Enjoy online.
Right.
January 13th, 2025. And I watched it. The video is also here. I can give it to you to play. It was at his vetting. Then he goes on to give us a long lecture about the number of years of experience he's had in public office, in the economy of this country, and how he believes that we don't need more taxes to be able to raise revenue, and that he and his government were going to raise the needed revenue to do all the things they promised. I remember his vetting. His vetting was one of the vettings that I sat down to really, consume. And this one really gave us a very long lecture and told us that he doesn't think, there is no way he was going to even go into the issue of taxes. And that he rather thinks that we should remove all the taxes he called nuisance taxes. And that even if all those taxes are removed, and I remember correctly, that the minority asked him that digital venture is the future. And e-levy is only the base, starting to try and ensure that when we get to the future, we'll be ready. And so if you remove this e-levy and all of its revenue gap that you're going to have, how are you going to deal with it? He said, no, forget it. I remember again correctly that Afenyo Markins put it to him that from what you have done, you are surely going to introduce new taxes. He said, no, you and your party were incompetent. And that is why you had those taxes. And we would run this economy, run this country, fulfill all our promises without introducing any new tax. I am hurt this morning. I am pained. I am really, really pained. I am sad. There is nothing, there is no greatest offense in this world than betrayal of trust. None. None in this world, no sin in this world beats betrayal of trust. That people entrust their lives and their future in your care, believing that you will live at least up to your own words. Forget eventualities. Forget things that will come along the line, but what you told them. Then we wake up 5 months into your tenure. You come and tell us that you have brought the burden of Ghanaians down. That is what he's saying. That he has brought the burden of Ghanaians down. And so we should, in the words of the majority leader, Mahama Yariga, Honorable, we should accept just 1 cedi. He calls it 1 cedi per. 1 cedi per. That's what he calls it. That's what he says we should give them. To fix a situation that was not there until they came. To fix a situation that was not there until they came to office. 8 years of the MPP in government. This country had stable power for 8 years, irrespective of what the challenges could be at the time. Irrespective of what the situation was, there was power. 8 years. We had crisis for 8 weeks. What burden has been reduced, Nana? What burden? Today, we buy cement, a bag of cement that used to sell between 85 cedis to 90 cedis. We buy it for 130 cedis. That is the burden they have reduced. Today, tomatoes that was selling for 2 for 5 cedi is selling for 1 for 10 cedis. That is the burden they have reduced. And he tells us that he reduced burden. Burden has gone down. And so everybody is doing well in this country. All your viewers watching, this country is doing fantastically well. When you and I know that in this country, it is not the dollar to cedi exchange rate that impacts the things we buy on our market. You and I know. It is the fuel pricing. Why are you doing this to us? Why? When I call this government a scam government, a settings and packaging government, this is what I mean. They knew from the get-go that the things they were doing were just facade. To let the Ghanaian people feel that they have brought some miracles into this country and that they are removing taxes and still they'll be able to do the things. They knew. They knew that in the month of May, getting into June, they were going to introduce taxes to make up for the shortfalls. Otherwise, what sense is there for you to come and tell us that e-levy, which is 1%, so if you buy anything at 100 cedis by choice, if you decide to use electronic transfer by choice, you pay how much? 1 cedi.
1 cedi.
You tell us that it is a burden, it's a nuisance tax. Remember, not every Ghanaian needs to use electronic transaction. You have to choose. You can